All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Robert Smirking Gun Reviews. We are back with more of the Umbrella Academy. It is episode 4. I love the main titles again. They just have really creative ways of working that in. So yeah, this is episode 4, Man on the Moon. So full spoilers if you have not seen this episode. Yeah, I am taking my time with this series, just in case anybody wonders. I am savoring it, almost like every other day or so I'm watching one, because I am really enjoying this. I'm getting the same satisfaction at waiting a certain period of time between episodes like I do Deadly Class, because I have to. I feel like I'm more satisfied that way. You know, it's like a drug, binging is, you know, like you get instant gratification, but it kind of feels hollow after the fact sometimes. So that's why I'm not rushing these out. That's why I've kind of pumped the brakes a little bit on content. Try to make everything feel a little more special to myself, not just to you guys. When I feel like it's good, then, you know, it makes me more confident for later on. But before we get into this episode, I just want to bring up one thing that has nothing to do with this. And that's because I care about this. I actually care about this stupid thing enough to where I'm not getting paid to advertise it. I'm not a shill for anybody. I just find it to be one of the most underrated, underwatched, underappreciated things of last year. It finally came out on, in my way of looking at it, it's finally out on Blu-ray and 4K and DVD, and that's Overlord. Okay, so if you have not seen the J.J. Abrams produced Overlord, it's directed by Julius Avery. It's an incredible B-movie-esque look at these World War II guys that get dropped in behind enemy lines during D-Day. A plot that is in a lot of World War II movies is guys missing the drop because of how often, you know, how bad that happened back then. But these guys stumble upon a village that is taken over by Nazis, but what they don't know is underneath this castle there is a secret Nazi lab, a la like Resident Evil type stuff or Wolfenstein, where they are creating super soldiers, but really turning people into monsters. It is an amazing movie. It knows exactly what it is, without, you know, it's played straight for the most part, but it is a blast. Wyatt Russell's in this. I love Wyatt Russell. He was in Lodge 49 on AMC and a few other things like Table 19 or something like that. A few things. He's been in a bunch of things lately, and I really dig him in this. I also really like Pilu Asbæk, I think, who plays Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones, is in this. You've got a couple of people that aren't in here very much. You've got Karstizer from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who plays Finn. Agent Fitz. He's in this as well. So like I said, the cast is great. The whole thing is just fantastic from beginning to end. I wanted more. I wanted more of this. Wyatt Russell made me think of Kurt Russell in The Thing a little bit. So if you have not seen this, please rent it at the Redbox or buy it or however you can watch it. Check it out. I'm telling you, it is so good. So anyway, I just didn't want to have to make a whole separate video. So I swear to God, I wasn't paid for that. So anyway, episode 4, Man on the Moon. Okay, so even though we get to find out what caused Luther to look the way he does, which is a emergency serum that they used on, his dad used on him to save his life, and it turned him into kind of like a giant gorilla man. I really like that aspect of it. But that's pretty much it for Luther. And so calling it Man on the Moon is a little weird, because yeah, they bring it up occasionally, but the main aspect of this episode, it should have been called something else. Because most of this has got to do with Klaus being tortured by Hazel and Cha-Cha. The other part of it has to do with Seven, Vanya and Leonard's growing relationship and Allison's distrust of Leonard. And then you've got 5 trying to track down the eyeballs. And so Luther is just kind of running around trying to find 5. So I still don't know why they called it Man on the Moon. But it's a small gripe, you know. But the standout in this is Klaus again. I mean, Klaus, the guy who plays him, I forget his name right now. Somebody else brought him up. He's in some show called The Misfits that I have not seen. He is, I thought 5 was my favorite, but I'm pretty sure it's Klaus now, because he's like I said before, he's like the kid from Sixth Sense meets like one of the guys from Trainspotting. He's just so fantastic. And what they do with him in this is great. And what, they use Ben for, and the ghosts, and how his capture forces him to start sobering up and going through withdrawal. Now, I don't think he was there that long to get through all the way to sobriety. They do that for TV and movies. All of a sudden, sobriety takes like a second. But what they do with him and his control of the, getting ghosts to do what he wants, or getting information from ghosts, working his powers the way that he needs to, really is fantastic in this. I like how they show how his dad got him over his fear. It's terrible what he did to him, but you can kind of see the necessity in it. He would have probably gone crazy a lot quicker if his dad hadn't done this. I don't know. It feels like there's like a catch-22, man, like a no-win situation. Like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. But how he starts to trigger in on Hazel and Cha-Cha, who are really awesome characters, by the way. I mean, again, I've brought it up. It's the one guy from Mindhunter. He's fantastic in this. And Mary J. Blige, who, is a double threat, I guess, with being a pretty famous R&B person and now being a pretty successful actress. They're also pretty standout in this episode and throughout the whole series so far. I like, though, what Klaus is starting to do with Hazel, showing cracks in his character, showing that he's got a conscience and stuff that Cha-Cha does not know about, that he's been letting people go occasionally on their missions. I love in the background when all the ghosts are there, all the dead people are there, and he's pretty much broken Hazel where they got to like leave the room. All these really cool looking designed dead people of varying degrees of deaths surrounding him, surrounding Klaus. And in the background, you see 2 of the ghosts, like when Ben tells him that he did a good job, and you see 2 of the ghosts like kind of give each other like a high five, like in the background. And it's subtle. I had to rewind it to make sure that that's what really happened. And that was such a cool little moment. Klaus is, the guy who plays Klaus, though, in this, everything he's doing, like when they're trying to torture him and he's enjoying the autoerotic asphyxiation as he takes it, or when they try to waterboard him and it doesn't work. It's just fantastically funny and dark. And I am kind of skipping right through his stuff, but when the detective shows up and gets killed here, that surprised me. I didn't think that they would go kill the cop yet. Once she was in the situation that she was in, I realized that she doesn't know about the second gunman. He's already escaped. She's done. Knowing it didn't make it suck any less. And that, that how that's going to affect Diego. So let's talk about Diego. What the hell is he doing? First, he takes the monocle so that Luther can't have it and create some mission or something. Like he's saving him from himself, even though he creates a different mission for Luther to find the monocle. And then, after he says what he did, he then kills, takes the thing out of their mom and puts her down, even though he's the one who loves her most. And now they think it was Cha-Cha and Hazel that did it and not him. And I don't know what his motivations are. He seems to be creating conflict. And I don't know. I don't get it. I know that they had questions about, taking their mother offline or whatever it is. But just the whole way that he does something like that he shouldn't be, like, why is he hiding it? Why didn't he, I don't know. He's a very mysterious guy because he seems to wear his heart on his sleeve sometimes. But then he's trying to be broody. But then he also is like the asshole that just likes to start shit. I don't know. Again, Vanya and Leonard, their growing relationship, and I feel like they're purposely and not even hiding it very well, trying to say that he's secretly a creep. I think that they keep trying to sway us to like, oh, maybe he is, oh, he's not. Oh, maybe he is, oh, he's not. Like they keep swaying us back and forth a little bit here in this episode. But I have a feeling that he's probably a creep. I don't want him to be. I really don't, because I like that actor, who is, in fact, in Overlord. I forgot. That's him right there with the middle finger. So, yeah, he's in that too. So if you like Leonard, he's in Overlord. I do feel like they're still going to swing him back creepy because he's just too nice. And maybe that's the point. There, it's like Sean Astin in Stranger Things Season 2, where you're just like, man, I bet you he's an asshole. And then you find out he really isn't, and then they kill him. So that could be what we're looking at here. I don't know. Allison and Luther, still pretty boring characters until they, like, I think that Luther being on the moon is very intriguing, and when they finally tell us what's going on about that, that'll be great. And Allison, I could care less about. I don't even remember what her powers are. Does she have powers? I can't remember. That's how unimportant she has been to me. Poor Five. Five reminds me of Joseph Gordon-Levitt from Third Rock from the Sun. The old person trapped in a young body. And I like, the darkness in him, when he's kind of saying, like, drunk, like, you don't even know how many people I've killed. I like that the miscommunication on the van, where it says, your brother says hi, and nobody, like the people that did it, they assume that they know that they're talking about Klaus, but Klaus even told them, like, dude, they're not going to even care. They're not even going to remember me. They're not even going to notice. So I love that little moment that they're talking about Klaus. The detective thinks it's Five. It's all like sitcom rules. Everybody's walking into the wrong room or misinterpreting a conversation. There's a lot of misinterpreting things in this show. But I'm really interested to see what's in that briefcase that sent Klaus to anywhere. I don't know. I love the lady sitting across from him. She's great. That's just great. That just the little subtleness of it. She just doesn't freak out or nothing. She's just like, what the hell was that? Discovery's bringing up the different deaths to Hazel. That's pretty cool. I mean, if Klaus can get control of his powers, man, it's pretty badass. And again, I'm trying to think. Pogo is pretty useless in this. I wish that they would do more with him. He's not a bad character. He's just not very interesting yet. And that's the only problem I have with the show so far, is that there's a bunch of parts that are really interesting, but when it's boring, it gets really boring. And that's, to me, the difference in how I feel about this compared to Deadly Class. Like, I am never bored during Deadly Class, and I've told the guy at the comic book shop today that I think it's probably because I'm an 80s kid, and so I can relate a lot easier to the Deadly Class stuff than I can the Umbrella Academy. But I do appreciate that the Umbrella Academy, it feels like it's like the Watchmen version of X-Men. Like, the school run by a famous guy that's, trying to do good with the people that he finds with powers that all basically could be mutants. And like the grounded reality of what that would really be like. And that's why I compare it to Watchmen, because, that's a lot of things, but it's a comparison of like real life. What would real life superheroes be like? And then what would that world look like? So in that way, I do compare the two a little bit, but I don't know. So anyway, that was Man on the Moon. It's pretty good. I'm looking forward more to Deadly Class's episode tonight, but I will probably be watching episode 5 of this later on today and trying to get a review out for it. Otherwise, it'll probably be out tomorrow. I still have to do Thor: The Dark World as well. That's the next thing coming up. So anyway, that's it for this review. If you liked it, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that rigmarole. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Reviews saying thanks a lot for all the support, and we will see you later.